Welcome to the Bodhi Academy. My name is Amisha Kulaso, and today we will continue with our chapter Nutrition in Animals, Class 7, Chapter 2. Previously in this chapter, we spoke about the alimentary canal, what are the different parts of it, starting from the buccal cavity, then going to the food pipe or the esophagus, then having the stomach, the small intestine, large intestine, and the anus. Then we also saw what happens at each of these parts, what happens to the food when it goes through each of these parts. Now in today's video we will see digestion in grass eating animals. So now if we have noticed cows, buffaloes and any other grass eating animals, what they do is that they take a certain amount of grass in their mouth and they keep on chewing it for a very long time. So now what does it mean? Are they having plenty of amount of grass to eat? No. So what happens is that when they consume in grass, what they do is they quickly swallow the grass. This grass then gets stored in the part of their stomach known as the rumen. So here what happens is that the food gets partially digested and it is known as curd. But later this curd comes back into the mouth. But when it comes back, it doesn't come back as grass itself, it comes back in the form of small lumps and the animal continues to chew it. This process is known as rumination and the animals that can do this are known as ruminants. So the grass we know is rich in something known as cellulose. It is a type of carbohydrates. In ruminants like cattle, deers, etc., bacteria present in rumen helps in digestion of this cellulose. But why is this happening? Because cellulose is not so easily digestible, so therefore it requires some bacteria that is present in the rumen. Animals like horses, rabbits, etc. have a large sac-like structure called the caecum between the esophagus and the small intestine. The cellulose of the food is digested here by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in humans. So far you have learned about animals which possess the digestive system. But we also know that there are some organisms that don't have digestive system. So what basically happens in their system? How do they digest their food? So this part we will look ahead. So feeding and digestion in amoeba. So amoeba now is a microscopic, it is a single celled organism and it is basically found in pond water. Now amoeba has a cell membrane, a rounded dense nucleus and many small bubble like vacuoles in its cytoplasm. Amoeba constantly changes its shape and position. It pushes out one or more finger-like projections called as pseudopodia, or a false feet for movement of and capture of food. So this is the amoeba that is present. It has these food vacuoles. It is pseudopodia and it has the nucleus. This is known as the false feet, and because of this false feet it is able to move, and also with this only it is able to capture its food. So amoeba feeds on some microscopic organisms. When it senses food, it pushes out pseudopodia around the food particle and engulfs it. The food becomes stuffed in a food vacuole. Digestive juices are secreted into the food vacuole. They act on the food and they break it down into simpler substances. Gradually the digested food is absorbed. So now what happens is that whenever this amoeba finds food or it senses food, it pushes out its pseudopodia around the food particle and it engulfs it. The food then becomes trapped in the food vacuole. Then what happens? The digestive juices, they act upon the food and they break down it into simpler substances, and therefore digestion of food occurs. Then the absorbed substances are used for growth, maintenance and multiplication. The undigested residue of the food is expelled outside by the vacuoles. The basic process of digestion of food and release of energy is the same in all animals. In a later chapter, you will learn about the transport of food absorbed by the intestine to the various parts of the body. So what they are saying is that the basic process of digestion remains same in all the animals. May it have a digestive system or may it not have a digestive system, food is still going to be digested and energy is still going to be consumed. So this was it for this chapter. So what we have learned: animal nutrition includes nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food and its utilization. Then the human digestive system, it consists of the alimentary canal and the secretory glands. The modes of feeding, they vary in different animals. Then nutrition is a complex process. It involves digestion, that is taking in food, digestion, that is breaking down of food, absorption, that is food being absorbed in the small intestine, assimilation, and digestion, that is throwing out of food. The digestion of carbohydrates like starch, it begins in the buccal cavity. Then digestion of proteins starts in the stomach. Then the bile secreted from the liver, the pancreatic juices from the pancreas, and the digestive juices from the intestinal wall, it completes the digestion of all the components of food in the small intestine. The digested food is absorbed in the blood vessels from the small intestine. The absorbed substances are then transported to various parts of the body. Water and some salts are absorbed from the undigested food in which part? The large intestine. The grazing animals like cows, buffaloes and deers, they are known as ruminants. Why? Because they quickly ingest the food, swallow it and then bring it back in the form of curd for later chewing. Amoeba ingests its food with the help of its false feet or the pseudopodia. The food is digested in the food vacuoles. So this was it for this chapter. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Bodhi Academy.